Good evening, everyone. It is so great to see all of you this evening as we come together for Dtlc Week 6. I hope you're doing well and staying motivated. We've already made such great progress, and tonight is another opportunity to realign, refocus, and keep moving forward. Our theme for tonight is Stay on Track. We are right in the middle of the Dtlc program, week 6. And by now, many of us have adapted new habits on how we eat, how we think, how we move, and even manage our health. But staying on track means reminding ourselves why we started, where we started, why we are here, and being intentional about maintaining the progress we've made. Let me start off with a quote that captures tonight's spirit. It says, "Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going." It's a quote by John C. Maxwell. It's that daily discipline, the consistent choices we make, that keeps us on the path toward lasting change. Our goal tonight is to reflect on the new habits we've built, explore how to strengthen.
That's your meeting.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we mute? Thank you. Good. So our goal tonight is actually to reflect on the new habits we've built, explore how to strengthen them, and talk openly about the challenges that might be pulling us off the course. We have a great panel with us this evening. Dr. Tieno Jalango, a specialist in diabetes care, Irina Tieno, our nutritionist, Faith Misheni, our assistant nutritionist, and our dear Dr. Joan is attending a funeral, and hopefully she will be able to join us later if her internet allows. To begin, Faith will take us through a quick review of last week's topic, meal planning and grocery shopping. And then Dr. Jalango will also review with us our blood sugars that we've been posting so faithfully. And after that, we'll move into tonight's main discussion on your relationship with food. And for the last part today, we would love to hear from you, your experiences, your challenges, your wins, and any lessons you've learned along the way. So as we get started, please get your pens, notebooks ready. Just take a moment to settle in and let's make the most of this session. So first,
Lydia,
okay,
can I just say something? Yes, we'll be doing an exercise that will require people to record something. So please have your pen and papers ready.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good to go. So we start off with Faith, our dedicated nutrition assistant who has been working closely with you, monitoring. Sorry, can we mute that? Thank you. Sorry for the many disruptions today. So yes, so Faith, please, you have our attention. We are looking forward to hear how we did last week with the challenges that we had. So Faith, go on. You have our attention. Most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Lydia. Good evening, everyone. I am glad to be here this evening and also glad to see us all. I'll start with reading to us the challenge of the week that we had last week. So the first one was plan your meals. Take a few minutes to outline what you'll eat for the week. This helps reduce impulsive choices and supports better blood sugar and weight control. The second one was pin your meal plan on your fridge to guide your daily food choices. And then on the shopping list, the challenge was a list helps you to stay focused, save money, and keep unhealthy temptations out of the cart. So you were to share your grocery list with us so as to inspire others. So I'd like anyone just to share the experience. And I was able to see a shopping list that was by Noah in the group. Probably you can start. You can also use the chat box. You can share your experience, how it was just coming up with a shopping list and even planning your meals. Yes, we also have Victor who shared his shopping list in the WhatsApp group. Victor, probably you can tell us how that went by coming up with the shopping lists.
Oh, Lydia, you created a meal plan for the week?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, I usually do create a meal plan, which has really been helpful when shopping. I try to shop twice a week because
Okay.
it's easier to shop once, but I realize
Mm.
I buy a lot, then by the time it's getting to the fifth day, the vegetables have deteriorated a bit. So I try to do it at least twice in a week, a Wednesday and a Saturday. And of
Mhm.
course, with the guidance of the meal plan, you already know what you're going to get. It's
Mhm.
cheaper. It saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would advocate for a meal plan.
Okay, thank you. We have Irene in the chat box. She says she had already shopped before, so she will shop again next week. Yeah, using the shopping list that she has. Thank you. Thank you,
So
Irene.
maybe there was not enough time, but maybe is anyone planning on creating a meal plan for next week?
Yes, we have Noah. Noah, you can go ahead, and then we'll have Doreen and Catherine. Thank you.
Good evening, team.
Good
Yes,
evening.
I would like to make a shopping list a meal plan for next week. I couldn't do it now because from Friday last week to Saturday, I traveled out of my home, and it's very difficult to settle in a home that is not yours and make a plan.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, but of course, if you get started and you are grounded, you can travel with it, I suppose. But it's something that I will have to work on.
Yeah.
And then coming to the shopping list, I'm looking at things I can cook, and I hope to expand my horizon of what I can cook. So that list is just restricted to what I can cook. And as has been highlighted, vegetables are very, very short shelf life, even if they're in the fridge. So I have to do it maybe every 2 days. Every 2 days. I think that's my contribution. Thank you very much.
Good evening. We are two Catherines. So I wanted to know which one.
Oh, there's one, the Catherine with a K. She had raised her hand.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have a challenge because I travel most of the weekdays.
Mhm.
So I've taught myself to have my food list on a daily basis instead of a weekly because last time I traveled, it took longer than I expected and all my vegetables went bad. So I've made a decision to shop when I'm sure I'm in my house because most of the times I'm out.
That's a really good point. You have to make it practical. 'Cause if it's not going to work for you, then you definitely don't want to be wasting money buying food that's going to be sitting there going bad.
Did my part by buying what I thought I needed for the week. But as others also have experienced, I find it difficult to buy once in a week. So I may do two shoppings for the week. But I buy my vegetables, I buy my fruits, not as much as I used to buy because now I eat at most two types of fruits in a day, or just one. And then I buy my carbs and also proteins. And nuts I think I have plenty of nuts I bought quite a lot. So those ones are taking me for whenever I will exhaust the ladder. So, but still, that does not mean maybe I'm buying all that I require to have a balanced meal, but I think I'm trying my best.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's really important to have a level of flexibility because we all have lives, we have jobs, we have other commitments that will take us away from home. So it can't it can't be rigid, and if it's rigid, it won't work. So it's so important having that flexibility is okay. It's okay. You don't feel bad about, hey, I was away and I couldn't do the grocery shopping, or it's actually a good thing to be able to relax a bit if you're away. Just go with the flow and get back to it when you get home.
Yes, thank you everyone for your feedback. If you have any more comments, you can use the chat box and we'll be able to get back to you. Irene, probably you can remind us a few pointers for the ideal meal plans, what we should remember and still continue practicing.
Yeah, so I think the ideal meal plan, as we've seen here, is it's really important to stay flexible because it's not always going to there's no it can't be by the book every week. So, people are traveling, people have events, people have family crisis. So it's so long as you're flexible and you know that, you can just try and get back on track when you can. So it doesn't have to be so rigid. I think that's one of the important keys. And also, there shouldn't be any sort of guilt tied to this. If you do it, if you create the plan and you're able to work through it, that's great. If things come up and you have to change it, that's okay too. I think that's the whole premise of this whole lifestyle change journey, is that things are not always going to line up. It's, you get on the bandwagon and you jump off as you need to, so long as you're keeping up with it 80, 90%, I think is the important thing. So
Yes, thank
just
you.
not having that feeling of being so rigid and restricted.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Irene. Thank you also all for your feedback. Lydia?
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Faith and Irene, for that recap, and also for the consistent support you continue to give the participants week after week. We appreciate the fact that you come down to our level and you tell us, don't feel guilty about it. It's not pinned on the book. So thank you so much for those encouraging words. Well, up next, our dear doctor, Dr. Jalango, a specialist in diabetes care, will bring now her expertise to this session. She will guide us through a review of your blood sugar readings and medication update, helping us to understand what those numbers mean and how they reflect the lifestyle changes we are making. So please, Dr. Jalango, take it away.
Thank you, Lydia. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back again online and now to engage with all matters sweet. So today I'm going to look at the blood sugars in relation to the lifestyle, and also then I'll ask a few questions to see what we are learning. So feel free to put up your hand or to type something in the chat. So let me just take over the. So the first sugar that we are going to look at is from a participant one. Okay? I don't know who they are, but here are the sugars. They probably know who it is. Looking here, what can you tell me? Anyone? Look at the blood sugar, look at the hours after the meal, the classification of blood glucose, and the diary intake record. What can you tell me when you look at this sugar?
The blood glucose of 10.6, 1.5 hours after a meal is after a bottle of Coke will be raised. Especially if you're a diabetic.
Yeah. But I don't know why they decided to take Coke. That's a boatload of sugar. Depending on which Coke you take.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
if
because if it's
assuming it has sugar.
yeah. If it was a Diet Coke, that's a different issue. But even then, we know the effect that the artificial sweeteners have. But if it's a normal Coke, a small bottle is about 10 teaspoons of sugar. And then the bigger one is like almost 20 teaspoons of sugar. So soda is something you would like to avoid as much as possible. Overall, what can you say about this sugar? One, I'd like to commend this person. They did a lot of good work. Okay. They did some really good work. And what we can see, apart from the Coke, there's some issues with double carbs, rice and sour milk. Somehow they were able to get away with it, but this is double carbs. So watch out for those. Otherwise, the food is not bad at all. It's quite good. And then this meal planning also helped me learn something new. I didn't know something called red veggies, but now I do. Yeah, that's something I didn't know. So this was also great. Then overall, this person is in relatively good control. So if I looked at it, about 70% of the time, they're in fairly good control. A few lows, but even when you look at the lows, none below 4. So that's not too bad. So this is fairly good control. We need to make a little changes. Probably look at the, what do you call them? The double cups and watch out on sugar loads. Okay? So watch out on the amount of sugar that you're taking. So you would essentially would like to avoid soda. You wouldn't like to take rice and sour milk together because that's essentially double carbs. Then otherwise, I think if this is a man, the 2 beers are okay. If it's a lady, it should be limited to 1, okay, here. Otherwise, still a lot of mixing of veggies if you look at this. But even then, I think this is a fairly good control. And I think this is somebody who is really invested in doing self-monitoring. So thank you so much. I don't want to say your name, but this is good, okay? And thank you for sending in your results. We will now go to the second one. This second one, you can see there's literally no high sugars, none, none, okay? None. So this is a bit better. This is almost, like, I think, 90%, what we would call over 90% time in range. Yeah, so this is quite good. And even when you look at a lot of the meals, the person is eating a lot of varied vegetables. Okay, so for here, maybe just not to mix too many vegetables at one time or too many proteins. So turkey, fish, coconut flesh, zucchini tart, okra, salad, that's a bit much. Try and make your plate slightly cleaner, but overall, this is some good effort, so keep up. So that was some very good effort, somebody who is really more or less invested and is reaping quite some good
I
results.
think
Yes?
here it's really good. It's
Yeah.
actually really good. Yeah.
They're really doing some good things and very well done.
Yeah.
And even when you look at the meals, there's a lot of variation. There's
Yeah.
quite a bit of variation. So
And
thank
and
you
the
so much.
blood sugars don't lie to you. They
Yeah, they don't.
yeah.
Yeah. So keep up. Well done. Then the third one. This was also another one that was fairly good, fairly good, though not a lot of data, but fairly good. The only thing which I thought was missing here was the meals, so that we don't know what caused these raises. So if you don't put the meals, it doesn't help. It does not help at all. So this one, I want to commend you for doing your monitoring. That's very good. What you need to add now is the next step, which is including your meal. So thank you very much for taking the effort. And then the other thing, move away from doing fasting. Fasting is an abnormal state. So you should have a few fasting, but a lot more of your sugar testing should be after food, after your food, your 2 hours after breakfast, 1 hour after lunch, after supper. So move away from fasting. Fasting is an abnormal state. When we are monitoring, we want to see whatever interventions are they helping when you eat your food, you see? So the test is actually in the eating. When you eat, does it raise blood glucose? And what is it that you're eating? So for you here, the recommendation is move away from fastings, do a lot more of post-meal sugars, and write the food that you are taking. That tells us a lot in regards to the blood sugar. So the last but not least is this one. Now here, this is fairly out of control. A lot of the sugars are high. But one thing you will notice very, very well is when you compare from the first and second week, now at the third week, you can see we are seeing some changes. Okay?
Yeah.
But here again, when you look into this, initially, you will see a lot of double carbs. Yeah? Arrowroot, sweet potato, vegetable. Huh? That's double carbs. Pineapple, apple, watermelon. This is a boatload of carbs. Okay? Rice, beans, double carbs. Rice, beans, double carbs. Okay? So I think here, you're doing well. You're on course. I can see some progress, but I would advise if you don't mind, would you kindly reach out? You can see the way your sugars are getting better, and I think it can even get much, much better. I think they would really need some help.
Yeah.
You need some help. If you can reach out, what do you think, Irene?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's obviously a trend towards better control. But I think that reaching out, maybe looking at quantities of carbs. So you might be doing no, maybe even single carbs, but maybe your quantities are still too high. So perhaps maybe um, focusing on having one carbohydrate and looking at how much of that carbohydrate you're actually consuming. Yeah, because it's hard for me to tell based on just saying white rice and the veg, but
Yeah.
I mean, already we can see that something has changed. Something has changed drastically in the right direction, and it can get even better with some guidance.
Thanks, Irene. So please, if this is your chat,
Yeah.
kindly just reach out to Lydia, and then she will connect you with a nutritionist and probably me as well, so that we help you. So for the four that have presented their blood glucose monitoring, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you for being vested in. Kindly, everyone, I was expecting 10 plus. Yeah, please do not be here and you're not making use of this opportunity. You paid for it. Kindly take charge. Remember, time gives us opportunities, but opportunities must be grabbed within that time. Otherwise, we lose them. So this is the opportunity for change and for good change. So if you could take charge, that would really be helpful. So I encourage each and every one of us who didn't send in their sugars, please, please, let's work towards that, and you can still share them. And in case you need assistance, we'll be able to notice and then let you know. And if you're willing, then we work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to say that the third blood sugar, the person who reported the third one is, I think it's so helpful for everyone to see how just from the first week to now, you're seeing a trend from red to now having greens. And you want to have as many greens as possible. And that is possible. And in the greens is where the blood sugar control is happening. So please, please, please post, share. It will help you know where you stand.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Lydia.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know. Does anyone has any question regarding what they just saw? Regarding our blood sugars, something you've experienced, something you've noticed with your own blood sugars?
Or
Sorry,
is
mine
there
has
somewhere
nothing to
where
do
you're
with blood
lost? Yeah.
sugar. I was wondering, Daktari, if we were
Yeah.
also sending you the chart for the BP monitoring. Were we supposed to send
Yeah.
to you?
No,
Okay,
if this week we were looking at blood sugar, but
blood
if you
sugar.
send your BP, Lydia,
Yes.
if anybody sends like those, just forward them to me.
Okay.
And if there's anything that is off, then I would arrange to get one-on-one with them. Yeah. So I think this week I was one-on-one with somebody from Naivasha. And this opportunity is open to you because after the program, you will pay me in case you need in case you need help. Take chance of this. Yes, Catherine.
Thank you, Daktari. Allow me to ask this question of if it's like monitoring the post-meal sugars, how often should one do that? Maybe in a week.
Now,
Because I
if
must
you're type
admit,
2,
pricking
yes,
every time after a meal, it's tricky.
correct. If you're a type 2, then you don't have to monitor every day. Now, you can take 3 days in 2 weeks, so you choose 3 consecutive days, test blood sugar 7 times a day for 3 days. Now, that alone, if you do that, you remember the structure testing, that will give us a profile of what you're eating and the relationship to your blood glucose, as well as your emotions and energy level to your blood glucose. Now, that can help us make decisions. Now, however, anytime there is a change in your life, you're stressed out, there's an emotional extreme, either somebody has died, maybe you are in financial difficulty, then you can have emotional extremes, or even maybe you've won the lottery, you're too happy, you'll be producing too much adrenaline, it may impact your sugars. At any time of any extreme in your life, you need to check. Anytime you're starting something new, you need to check. And that is why CGMS is better, because associated with monitoring is pain. The pricking is not a joke, it's painful. If you have type 1 diabetes, unfortunately, you need to be monitoring every single day, probably even every meal. So for those who can afford CGMS is better. But I can tell you in another 5 years, this CGMS thing will be so cheap, you won't even believe it. Yeah, it will be old technology. Okay.
Yeah.
But for now, we don't have that. So monitor. The other thing is using alternate sites for monitoring. Sometimes you can draw blood from the arm, from here, these optional sites instead of the finger. And then please always remember, don't prick your finger at the tip. Prick your finger at the side. The sides are less painful and you draw more blood from there. So you prick from the sides. At the tip is where your nerve endings are. So avoid that. So for once you are in good control, you can be doing a 3-day run once a month. Okay. But when you are not in good control, then you do 3-day run every week until you get stabilized. Because with every 3-day run, you are able to notice certain things, you make certain adjustments. And then most importantly, correlating all this by doing your HbA1c, which gives us the average of your blood glucose. So I hope that answers you, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dakshari. That's very clear for me.
So I was just going to ask Dr. Jalango regarding continuous glucose monitoring. What are the options for patients in Kenya in terms of if even if you have your own ability to pay for it?
The options in terms of pricing or the types of
just in
CGMS available?
No, yeah, both. Pricing,
Or
if
the pricing
you're
is
able,
crazy. It
okay,
is 14 to 17,000 depending on the brand of
okay.
CGMS that you use. And that's 14 to 17 is per 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you see, it's damn expensive.
Okay, it's still very
It's
expensive.
very, very expensive, yeah. And even that's why even most insurances don't even want to go there.
Okay, so it's not
Unless
even
maybe you have
covered.
something like Bupa. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Mm.
Okay.
It's very,
I
very
was just
expensive.
I was curious because I think it would be a game changer for people with diabetes here, as it is in
Definitely.
parts of the world.
Definitely. That's our challenge. So for now, we are stuck with the glucose monitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity when I worked at a clinic in Toronto to actually wear one just as a participant, and it was an amazing experience. So I'm hopeful that one day it will be widely available here for
Yeah.
all people who need it. Yeah.
That would really be awesome.
Yeah, we have some 2 questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Does going from 3 meals to 2 meals a day improve sugar management?
Yes, it definitely does. Yeah. Because one of the things, and also it depends on the timing and how varied they are. Okay. Because
And
if
what
you
you're
are doing,
eating.
yes, and what you're eating. So if you have 2 meals that are well structured and well balanced, meaning you have protein, especially with the starter meal, vegetables, and so that the sugar can hold out longer to meet the other meal, then that's better. But if the meal has too much carbs, then you dip, chances are that your sugars will rise up highly again, even before you meet the other. So it's not just the spacing, it's also it's also what you eat, how you eat, but most importantly is the less your meals, the less meals you take, the less you are exposed to high insulin levels. Okay, because high insulin levels also give you a problem, and it is the insulin that makes you gain weight and creates other inflammatory issues in the body. There's definitely a plus doing less meals, but not less than 2, at least 2 in a day.
Yeah, because you also want to make sure that you're meeting your nutrient requirements. You're not starving. You want to be able to eat to nourish your body, meet your nutrient requirements, feel nourished. If you're starving, you're just going to give up and overeat. So yeah, you want to make sure that the meals are well balanced if you're doing 2.
Then there's a comment from Anita. I thought fasting sugars were more important, but now I realize it's the ones after eating. Excellent point. Fastings are important because one, they tell us your basal insulin requirements. What is your basal insulin requirement? Your basal insulin requirement is that insulin that your body requires, produces, even if you do not eat or you do not do any activity. It's the basic minimum amount of insulin that is required. Okay. So if you are a type 1, and you were being started on like a basal bolus regimen, meaning that you are using a long-acting insulin and the short-acting for the meals, the first thing we stabilize is your basal requirement. So we look at your fastings. Once your fastings are done, now postprandial. Postprandials are extremely important. Why? If whatever intervention you're doing is working, it should be able to handle your food. So if your food quantity, type, and timings are right, and your physical activity and everything else is working, then whatever medication, or if you're out of medication, those interventions then should be able to ensure that when you eat, your blood sugar doesn't go high. And the biggest impact on your complications is your postprandial sugars. Okay? So sugars after eating are extremely, extremely important because remember, fasting is an abnormal state. You need to eat to live. And if you have diabetes, as you eat, whatever measures we are taking should be ensuring that your sugars remain within range. And that is why post-meal sugars are very, very key to good diabetes management. I can almost always tell you if your post-meal sugars are good, your fasting is already sorted. But your fasting may be good, but your post-meals are not good. So post-meals are very, very important.
Looks like
Okay.
we're done with questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, but feel free to share your questions in the chat, in the WhatsApp group. Feel free to do that. Yeah?
Oh, there's a question.
Yes. Go on, Doreen.
Yeah. Now I want it. Well, this is just to for the peace of my mind. Between honey and sugar, are they the same? Whether I take honey or I don't take sugar usually, but I love honey. Now, should I stop taking honey? Normally, I take 1 teaspoonful for my tea or whatever. Now, should I stop taking that or I'm okay?
Irene, can you tackle that?
I'm telling you, okay, sugar, honey, maple syrup, it's all the same on your blood sugars.
Okay.
So if you've been taking one, I don't know, 1 teaspoon of honey with your tea or whatever it is, then that's fine. But just know that there's no difference between all of them.
Okay.
It all turns to sugar in the blood. So
Okay.
I mean, honey might have some like antimicrobial, like antibiotic properties, but in terms of uh, what it does to your blood sugars, it's all the same as sugar.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your many questions. We look forward to receiving more and answering as we go on. And thank you, Dr. Jalango, for that insightful session, simplifying complex medical information to show us how our daily actions influence our health. We truly appreciate this. Well, now we move on to our main topic this evening. Will be led by Irene Otieno, and that is your relationship with food. What does this mean? Well, she'll help us explore how our emotions, thoughts, and even environment affects our eating patterns. And right after that, we'll now have a chance to talk and share our experiences. So we warmly welcome you, Irene.
Okay, thank you. Let me share. The topic today is evaluating our relationship with food. How many can say with confidence that they have a good relationship with food? If food was your friend, how would you describe your relationship with food? This is what we're going to be talking about today, because this is a really big, important topic. So evaluating your relationship with food involves assessing if you eat out of hunger and enjoy food without guilt, or if you use food for emotional comfort. Do you experience stress about your food choices or do you follow strict rules? Should you be following strict rules regarding how you eat? Is that a healthy thing? Let's be thinking about that. A healthy relationship allows us to eat a variety of foods to nourish our bodies while also enjoying food without feelings of anxiety or shame. We should not be feeling shame about eating food. A poor relationship can involve emotional eating, guilt, obsession over calories, or feeling out of control around food. So we definitely shouldn't be feeling guilt, obsession, or feeling out of control around food. So signs of a healthy relationship with food is you're eating when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. You enjoy all foods without feeling guilt or shame. You don't have good or bad food labels. You eat to feel energized, healthy, not just to follow a diet, because now like there's all the TikTok and whoever's on Instagram and they're following this diet and that diet. That should not be a priority. You can eat without distractions and enjoy the experience of eating. You listen to your body's hunger and fullness cues. So why is a healthy relationship with food important? Some of them I've already mentioned. A healthy relationship with food is crucial because it improves your physical health by reducing the risk of chronic diseases. When you have a healthy relationship with food, chances are you're eating a balanced diet, you're not stressing about it, you're exercising. It enhances mental well-being by stabilizing mood and preventing anxiety. If you're constantly obsessed about what you're eating, you are going to be stressed out. It's going to affect your mood and you're going to be anxious about it. And food is not something you should be anxious about. It also improves your self-esteem, protects against disordered eating behaviors like restriction. So over restricting or binging. Binging is just means overeating of anything. Increases your flexibility, your enjoyment. Food should be enjoyed. And the ability to listen to your cues without guilt. You shouldn't be guilty about eating. So signs of an unhealthy relationship with food is you eat in response to emotions like stress, boredom, sadness. You feel guilty, anxious, or ashamed after eating certain foods. You obsess over calories. Macros are things like protein, carbohydrates. Did I eat enough? Did I eat too much? Or constantly tracking your food intake. You have lots of off-limit foods. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. That shouldn't be the case. Food and struggle with binging after restricting them. Yeah. That shouldn't be the case either. You feel out of control around your food. You shouldn't be feeling out of control around your food. Food should be enjoyable and nourishing to your body. Your food choices are heavily influenced by external opinions or some sort of diet culture. So you're on TikTok, you're on this fad, you're on that, you're detoxing. Those things are things that you should be avoiding. So today we are going to be evaluating our relationship with food. So there are many kinds of emotional eaters. Some eat in response to a negative emotion, while some eat in response to a positive emotion. So let us now evaluate our relationship with food via these 12 signs of emotional eating. So what I want you to do is for each of the 12 points, I want to give you to give yourself 1 point if you feel that it's actually relevant to you, and 0 if you don't feel like it's relevant to you. So that way we'll total it up and then you'll be able to see where you stand in terms of your relationship with food at the end. So you eat when you're stressed. When you have things to do, like when you're working, you have studies, your exams, you reach out for food subconsciously, especially when you're up late at night. But this can also be during the day. It can happen any time of the day. Are you reaching out for food subconsciously? The second is you eat as a response to your emotions. You eat when you feel sad, annoyed, disappointed, angry, lonely, empty, anxious, tired, bored. If all this stuff evokes a desire to eat, and you don't even think about it, you just automatically reach out for food when you experience these emotions, then that's an issue. You seek solace in food. When you feel down, you seek out comfort food. You bury yourself in things like ice cream. So usually most of us can have ice cream. Your desire to eat seems to have taken a life of its own. You go out of your way to get food to satisfy a particular craving, even though you may not be hungry at all. That's number 5. Number 6, you eat to feel happy. You are emotionally dependent on food, relying on it for happiness. You derive positive emotions from eating, even though it's nothing more than a neutral activity to help you live, just like breathing, drinking water, and passing waste. But for some reason, you're dependent on food for happiness. Number 7, you eat when you feel happy. You see eating as a necessary companion to happy emotions, just like how people eat to celebrate good news. Number 8, you're fascinated with eating food. You love food. You love to eat. When you're not eating, you can't help but think about food. You long and crave for it. When you're eating, it's like you're in Wonderland. Eating and food draw an intense level of interest from you. Number 9, you use emotionally charged words to describe food and eating. It's sinful, it's decadent, it's guilt-ridden, love, lust, indulgent, enticing, craving, tempting. Even though food is a non-living thing, incapable of feelings, nor returning your love and hate. Number 10, you eat even though you're rightfully full. No matter how much you eat, no matter how full you feel, you never feel quite satisfied. Whatever satisfaction you get from eating is momentary, and you return to eating after a while to recapture that emotion. You think of eating even though you're rightly full, even though you've had your fill. You continue to think about food. You think about what to eat for the next meal right after you've finished eating. You obsess about food. And when you can eat it. You can't wait till it's time to eat again. And number 12, you have random food cravings out of the blue. Sometimes you get urges to eat just a craving, which you must satisfy, or else you feel unhappy. So rank all these. I hope you've been keeping track, and basically jot down, does any of the above resonate with you? So group 1, if you scored 0 to 2 points, group 2, 3 to 5, group C, 6 to 8, and group D, 9 to 12. And so the following will be the evaluation based on the group that you fall under. So if you fall under 0 to 2 points of the 12 points that I went over, you have a healthy to a very healthy relationship with food. You should be happy that you have a neutral stance towards eating, because most people don't. Having such a healthy relationship with food is no doubt extremely helpful in maintaining a healthy lifestyle and adhering to weight loss. Group B, 3 to 5 points. You have an okay, somewhat average relationship with food, which can be improved. While food doesn't cause you much anguish, it certainly doesn't serve your healthy living goals either. Group C is 6 to 8 points. You have an average to a poor relationship with food. It's not unlike the kind of relationship most people in our society have with food. It's highly important that you look into it and address it if you want to commit yourself to healthy living. And the final group, Group D, 9 to 12 points. You have an extremely unhealthy relationship with food, may involve binging, hating yourself for binging, and binging yet again. Your very poor relationship with food is very likely due to many factors, many issues, attachments with food, falsified beliefs, which will take time to slowly explore and unravel. So for the week, I think it's important that you look at the group that you fall under. What do you think about it? Do you think it's accurate? Does it depict your relationship with food? Why or why not? And how so? Think about it, journal about it, find support from friends and family or in a group or professionally, and talk more about it, ask questions, and seek more help. So overall, in order to move forward and evaluate your relationship with food, it's extremely important to observe your emotions, pay attention to whether you're eating to cope with feelings or truly out of hunger. Reflect on rules. Note, do you have strict rules about what you can and cannot eat? Notice your guilt. There should not be guilt surrounded with eating. Recognize if you feel negative emotions like guilt or shame after eating certain foods, or even certain amounts of food. Sometimes we overeat and then we start feeling guilty and ashamed. Consider your focus. Ask yourself if you think about food in terms of nutrients or energy, or in terms of good or bad. Food should never be looked at as good or bad. And then seek professional help if your relationship with food causes significant distress or anxiety. You need to speak to somebody about it, a professional, a dietitian in particular, to determine, to provide you with the professional guidance needed. So overall, moving forward, in terms of building a healthy relationship with food, these are my big takeaways. We have to stop labeling food as good or bad. We need to focus more on moderation. Stop guilt tripping over occasional treats. We will go out, we will sit with friends, they will order a piece of cake, we'll have some with them. That should not be a cause of significant guilt. Eat till satisfied, not stuffed. That's something you have control over. Identify and overcome emotional eating behaviors. So you know if you're sad or you are mad at the boss or whatever, and you come home and you just want to eat that chocolate cake, that's emotional eating. Eat your food slowly, savor every bite, and take your time. Any questions?
We have some scores in the chat box. So we have someone who scored 2 out of 12, and
Okay.
someone else who scored 4 out of the 12.
Okay.
I'm just trying to relate with each and every one of it to see, because I know one of the weird things that we get caught up in is the restrictive diets, especially right now. When I began this system, I just felt like, it's a bit restrictive, but I'm so used to it. Now it doesn't feel restrictive anymore. It's sort of a lifestyle that I can maintain.
Do you think it's restrictive, or is it just a change? Because I think that I mean I think that it should be more just a balance, not so much a restriction.
When you're not used to something, it tends to be restrictive. But once you understand it and start doing it,
Yeah.
then it's no longer restrictive because somehow, like now, the body feels stronger, you feel more energetic, so you see the benefits. But before that, because we were all looking at okay, not all, but me, I was looking at it and thinking, no protein at night, how now? No meat protein, how will I manage? But well, I'm doing a good job at it at the moment.
And,
Yeah.
and that's the part of lifestyle change and the lifestyle journey, because I mean, I imagine that as you know, we have all these habits that we've been living all our lives, and many in our 30s, 40s, 50s, you're waking up, you have diabetes, and you're being told, oh, you need to make this change. And it's not easy. It's not easy to make lifestyle change. But at the end of the day, the goal um, is to prevent complications of diabetes and even put it in remission. So sometimes it'll take this type of change and commitment to get you there.
And if I could comment, I hear you, Irene. I think the thing that more or less would feel restrictive is you don't have the freedom to just eat anything, anytime, anyhow.
Yes.
That's the issue. However, it is liberating in the sense that you want better for your life, so you can still have your meat, but now you know when and how to have it,
Yes.
so that you still have your meat, but it doesn't impact you heavily. It doesn't impact you badly, you know?
Yes.
So that's okay, that's how I look at it. I don't know whether that kind of changes your
And
perspective.
it's the same for having double carbohydrates. I mean, double carbohydrates when you're diabetic will impact your sugars significantly. So it's that journey of making the change is not easy because that's all you've known. However, when you see your reds going to green in your blood sugar control, and that is also indicative of improving your blood sugars, reducing your complications. So you're heading towards the right path. It's not easy, but ultimately it's what's leading you to better blood sugar control and improvement of your diabetes.
So if I can comment, for me, it had an opposite effect because I was used to 1 meal a day, and I did 1 meal a day for quite a while. And then I added weight, I think, because my body just kind of got used to it, and I also started eating really badly, double carbs and all. One of the things I've learned here is about double carbs and how to choose my meals. So for me now, I feel like I'm a bit more stuffed. I spoke with Dr. Alex the other day. She's like, no, at least try 2 meals a day, one in the morning and one, mid afternoon or early afternoon. And I find myself so stuffed. And then one of my bad habits, from what you said, is snacking. One of those who can crave sugar so badly, and I just want a chocolate something. And whether I'm hungry or not, I reach out for it just to kill that craving. So that's where my bad habits come from right now. And I'm trying to manage the 2 meals, figuring out what to eat in the morning. So I'm not too full, because sometimes I would eat in the morning. If I eat a full meal in the morning, I will not be able to eat in the day. My stomach adapted to that. And I'll sleep and I'll wake up the next morning, So I think I got to a point where now I stabilized. I was not losing weight. I was not maintaining. Maybe the body was eating out of itself. I don't know, because I added weight. I did like 6 kilos from well, I guess it's menopause, also an old age, but that's what happened. But mine had a different effect. So, Marine, I don't eat dinner, so that was not even a struggle. Now it's being able to eat 2 meals, but with the right choices and cutting out the snacking. Because right now, even today, I ate very well, but I still snacked on a chocolate cookie. I think it called my name. I just saw it and it called my name, and I was craving that sugar. And I had done very well in the day. So that's where I am at.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to beat down on yourself because, yeah, I mean, we are all human, and so long as it's not happening all the time, uh, you're doing 90% of the time, you're eating well, you're doing the right thing. Occasionally, you will it's okay to have a cookie. It is okay to do that. Another thing is, another point I was going to make regarding the 1 meal a day. So one thing about overly restricting your caloric intake, because if you eat 1 meal a day, you're eating very, very few calories. And what that tells your body, and especially if you're doing it on a regular basis, it starts to tell your body to prepare for starvation. So your body now it restricts itself to the point where even your most basic, we all have a basic caloric requirement. When you overly restrict, that requirement goes down because your body is preparing for starvation. And so you end up holding on to as much body fat as possible because your body is preparing for starvation. And so it's actually counterproductive to starve yourself. This is why a lot of the times women say, oh, I didn't eat anything all day, but I'm still gaining weight. It's because of that. You can't, oh, your body still needs to be nourished. You cannot starve it. If you starve it, it will hold on to dear life because it wants to keep you alive. So, yeah, 1 meal a day is not enough.
Well noted. Thank you.
Isn't eating slowly akin to using a blender? So reducing the amount of roughage?
Is that a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
from Victor. Yes. Isn't eating slowly akin to using a blender? So reducing the amount of roughage?
You know what? The thing about roughage is that it's undigestible material. So chewing it and it's not going to change the fact that your body can't digest it. So it doesn't it's inconsequential. So chewing your food slowly is good in general, but it doesn't really affect the roughage at all.
And it also helps your food get mixed well with the enzyme, reduces fermentation of food in the stomach, in the abdomen. So you need to chew your food well. And so it also prevents bloating. If I eat my right portion, should I feel guilty if I am not quite full and wouldn't like to add and would like to add a bit more?
I mean, I think that this whole idea of feeling guilt around food is it's not healthy. Um, I think if you eat, if you're eating a balanced meal and you're still feeling hungry, and usually it does take time for our brains to register that we are full. So that's another advantage of eating slowly, because the slower you eat, it gives your brain the time to register that you've had enough, and then you may actually not have the desire to eat if you eat slower. But if you so desire, if you're still feeling hungry, please don't starve yourself because that's counterproductive. It's just going to make you think that, oh, this is overly restrictive and it will be counterproductive.
And the other strategy, probably, I don't know how that works, is sometimes you take some water like an hour before you eat.
Yes.
And then if you feel hungry and you've eaten what you think probably is enough, then just eat some more veg.
Yep.
You know, that is
That's
less
a really good
disruptive.
That's a really good point. Drinking water before your meals is a good way to fill you up before you start eating. So then you end up eating less calories just because you're full.
Then there's another question. What is the effect of eating protein for breakfast, carbs for lunch, and veggies for dinner instead of trying to balance each plate?
Yeah, but even at dinner, you can still have protein. You just have vegetable protein.
Now, what this person is asking is that in the morning you do breakfast is only protein, carbohydrate for lunch. Then in the evening, dinner is veg.
Oh, well, I don't prescribe that. I prescribe a balance at each meal. So
Yeah.
so yeah. So in my prescription, it would be a balance of carbohydrates, protein, and fruits and veg at each meal. And then less of the animal protein at night,
Yeah.
but balanced at each meal.
Yeah, the other effect of this on the blood sugar is wide variation between the
Yes.
highs and the low. When you take the protein, it's likely that your sugars will not vary a lot. They'll
Yeah.
not go very high or very low. But when you eat the carbs, they'll just shoot very high, you
Yeah.
know.
So
And
you
then
might. Mhm.
you eat dinner, you eat vegetables, and then you dip. I mean, that variation, glucose variability, the greater the highest and the lowest sugar, the higher the chance of developing complications.
Yeah. So if
So,
you with each meal, so if you have, for example, at breakfast, and you had a piece of toast, whole grain toast, when you add the boiled egg to it, or whatever, the butter, the fat, that balance reduces the rise in blood sugar because protein and fat are just harder to digest. So mixing them with your carb decreases the rise in blood sugars. So this is why if you are with each meal, it's important to balance it with fats, carbohydrates, and protein, because the protein and the fat helps to balance your blood sugar rise.
Instead of uh, eating, like, if I choose to eat protein in the morning, no veggies, no, maybe a fruit after 1 hour or something like that, and then I'm missing something almost the whole day. Then I need to put little by little of everything, apart from food, which either I take earlier or later. Then I feel comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's important to balance at each meal. It'll it just makes especially when you're diabetic, is it because ultimately you want to control your rise in blood sugars. You want to avoid those quick rises and then you crash. So balancing your meals creates more even rise in your blood sugars, which is what you want.
Okay, unfortunately, my phone is about to go off and I'm not in the house. But I also wanted to find out. I know this is a diabetic group, if we all joined, but does this all apply to even the non-diabetes, especially the meals? Okay, not the, and I agree with the eating the veggies, I agree with the balanced, but do all the rules that we are going through apply in significant measure to the non-diabetic?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
considering we also have other diseases, some of us are arthritic, like others are diabetes, high blood pressure, others are menopausal like us. So is it like for everybody?
So you know what? So these the big lifestyle change intervention studies that were done were primarily on diabetics, but then they found that they work just as well on other health conditions. So um, hypertension, high cholesterol, all these other health problems, obesity. So, we may be talking about diabetes, but when you talk about the diet part and the role it plays on our health, it's useful to everybody.
Yeah. I think if I could add on to that, Irene, you're very much on point. And we've seen that even through the DTLC. We have seen cancer remission in patients who have done DTLC, and we also have the DTLC usually for non-diabetic population, and we see significant effect on weight. We see significant effect in reduction of blood pressure, and even most recently, we had a lady with arthritis who had a degree of remission, and also somebody with systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE, who also had some remission. So just using the same principles
Yeah.
for a healthy lifestyle impacting other diseases that are not necessarily diabetes. Why? Because the risk factors are the same.
Yes, yes. And one other thing that I think is really important to mention, and we can't underscore its importance, is exercise. This part, I mean, we talk a lot about diet and medications and whatever, but exercise is critical to this intervention. So I know we talk a lot about, getting your 10,000 steps in as much as possible, but 10,000 steps is great, but it's not the only form of exercise you can do. So whatever physical activity you enjoy, whatever you prefer to do, it's so important that you're doing it. At least they say moderate to intense exercise. Obviously, you get yourself there. You can't start there if you haven't been exercising at all. But get yourself to at least 150 minutes of exercise, moderate to intense, every week. So that, if it means even joining a gym, I'm not against that. It's never too late. Go to the gym, go for your walk, start jogging, go swimming, whatever it is you're doing. This diet and lifestyle with exercise is extremely effective. And in fact, the impact on blood sugar control with exercise, the benefits are quite significant. A lot of people just through regular that 150 minutes of exercise, they stop taking medications.
Yeah, that's true. And just to add on the issue of eating a single type of food, when you're eating single types of food, your sugars will be highly variable. So I wanted to just show you this using these three graphs. All these three people have a HbA of 7, but it is only one person who has actually the truly good HbA1c. You see, so HbA1c does sometimes misses out on the variability, and that is why CGMS is important because it takes almost every minute sugar. And that is why also your self-monitoring, even with the blood glucose, helps. So all the results have to be correlated. We just don't look at HbA1c alone. Okay, just a minute. So you look at this person. The first person has very low and very high, you see? But his average is good. The same way, this one has slightly high and slightly low, but the average is good, you see? But these two people will more likely develop complications of diabetes very fast. Yet their A1C is 7. Why? The reason being their variability. So you can see the time in range here is only 40%, 20% low, 40% high. Very high risk, very, very high risk for developing complications. For this other person, the time in range is around 70%, 25% high, 5% low. This person also is at risk of developing blood sugar complication, though not as fast as the first person. Now, this person who is within the range, you can see the peak and the troughs are very low, are not very low. So this is actually the true 7 A1C. So this person is the one who has the greatest benefit in terms of reduced risk from developing diabetes complication. So your meals are critical. Apart from the other things you do, the more complex your meal, the less the variability. The less complex your meals, I mean, the more complex your meals, the less the variability. The less complex your meals, the higher the variability. Okay? So when you take things like direct sugar, only one item of food, that contributes to high variability. When you mix your food, there's some fat in your food, there is protein in the meal, there is some veg in the meal, and some carbs mixed together. That is more complex, less variability, less risk of complications. I hope this makes it more or less clear.
Yeah, it's really, yeah. So this really just is indicative of your rise in blood sugars as a result of your food consumption, and how in the last photo, if you say, for example, if you had a piece of fish, some brown rice, and some sukuma wiki, chances are your blood sugar rise will be much more even than in the middle photo. Say if you just had like some mashed potatoes with beans, where your blood sugars will rise and they will drop. They'll have that peak. So having a more balanced meal just evens out that rise each and every time, which is what is being shown here.
Okay, so Lydia, over to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, doctors. We really appreciate Irene for helping us see that food is more than just food. There's actually a relationship that we have with food. Of course, we'll continue with this next week. So we are really looking forward to a continuation of this topic. And of course, to our dear doctor, Dr. Jalango, thank you so much. Faith, thank you so much. We truly appreciate. We were really looking forward to listening to your experiences so far. We are right in the middle of Dtlc season 11, but due to time constraint, we kindly request whether we can start with this next week. We are really looking forward to know how the journey has been, the challenges that you're experiencing, and even the wins that you have. So we are waiting for that session patiently. Yeah? Go
Yeah,
on,
and I
Irene.
It's
Okay, go on.
Dr. Jalango was asking a question.
Yeah, all I wanted to say is I am really appreciating the interaction. It's getting better and better and should increase. Yeah, I'm really appreciating that. Yeah.
Wonderful, right from the doctor. So keep it up, friends. So thank you so much, everyone, our panelists, our participants. We are really grateful for this session. Tonight was a reminder. We need to stay on track. Of course, we will talk more about this next week. And we've come from reflecting from our own habits, reviewing our blood sugar progress, explored relationship with food. And it's clear change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through commitment. So we leave you with this quote that the secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. It's a quote by Mike Murdock. That's such a wonderful and a powerful reminder that what we do each day, the meals we plan, the steps we take, the discipline that we keep is what shapes our health and our future. So as we head into a new week, we want to stay intentional. We want to keep practicing what we have learned. We wish you all a strong, focused, and fulfilled week ahead, and keep up that momentum. We wish you a good night, and we'll see you in our next session. Thank you so much.